completed in numbers, was very keen. If it's a surprise to find crews still not settled only 8 weeks before the Games, the explanation is a change of selection policy. This year, Britain has followed the example of many other nations and gathered together all its best rowers, trying them out in various combinations. The objective is to concentrate the most likely talent in a small number of events where the medal chances look best. There's a chance here, then, for the crews that are more or less settled to sharpen their teamwork, and a chance for those still scrapping for the remaining places to impress the coaches and selectors.
So Nottingham pair 32.5.
Chief Coaching Coordinator Penny Chuter carries the responsibility for picking up British rowing after a disastrous season last year.
32, Jones and Wensley. Oh, yes, it's Dan's pair, isn't it?
A video camera records every race so that later analysis can back up today's impressions. One competitor who will not need to wait too anxiously for the postman to bring an invitation to Los Angeles is Gerald Mitchell, Britain's leading single sculler. Beryl from the Thames Tradesmen's Club is a PE teacher from West London. Here at Nottingham, Beryl Mitchell's final includes challengers from Italy and Ireland, but her powerful stroke soon establishes a clear advantage. This race, like all the women's events in the Olympic Games, is over 1,000 metres. 2 weeks previously, at Vichy in France, Beryl was beaten twice. So here she's out to demonstrate that she can still be the resolute competitor who has done so well in the past. Her first Olympic selection was for Montreal in the coxless pair, but it's as a single sculler that she's had her best results. 4th in the Moscow Olympics, a silver medal at the World Championships a year later. Last year, in a general British slump, Beryl could finish only 7th in the World Championships. So, at the age of nearly 34, is it getting harder to meet the demands of top competition?
I think it's more psychological. The power of the brain is phenomenal. And get the brain in gear and the body can do anything. I've had my doubts in the past month or so, but then I think at the beginning of each new season you sit and you think, can I do it again, or can I try and improve on last year?
Yes, it still looks like Beryl Mitchell out in front there, with just, what, 2 lengths clear, 3 lengths clear perhaps, between herself and the next sculler.
Even though the opposition is not of the highest class, this still provides a reassuring display of confident sculling.
That's Wilson for Reading, coming towards the finishing line now in 2nd place in leg 1 on this side, with Beryl Mitchell there, taking her last few strokes towards the finishing line in leg 2. Beryl Mitchell for the Air Oil squad.
Beryl Mitchell crosses the line in just over 4 minutes and 8 seconds, more than 6 seconds ahead of her nearest rival.
At this stage, put it this way, I like to win. It's nice to win and it gives you confidence, but the thing is, if you win too soon, or if you're peaking too soon, then obviously it's going to take away from later on.
I would. I'll give you the kiss. Oh.
Here, for the Olympic standard competitors, medals are not too difficult to come by. But what about Los Angeles? In the absence of entries from the Eastern Bloc, which traditionally does well in rowing, won't some of those medals be devalued?
Then you better say that about every Olympic medal, because every Olympic medal that has been won, one country or another has been missing. And I would like to see you lot say it to Sharon Davis, Neil Adams, Daley Thompson, and carry on from there.
Britain's other chief hope of a medal in the women's events in Los Angeles lies with the 8. They've already made a good start to the season, finishing narrowly 2nd at Mannheim to the Soviet Union and ahead of Romania, bronze medalists in Moscow. But here they paddle into position for a race with only a civil service ladies crew to extend them. crisp, assured start pleases the critical eyes on the bank. This will be only the third Olympics to include women's events, and it needs a good showing both in numbers and standards to keep at bay those who would like to see the women excluded again. The Olympic boycott, in any case, rules out the gold and silver medalists from 4 years ago, the Soviet Union and East Germany, as well as Bulgaria, who finished 4th. So there's a real incentive for these girls. Interestingly, rowing at 6 in the middle of the picture here is Astrid Ayling, who previously wore West Germany's colours. Indeed, she won for them a bronze medal in the World Championships. But now, following her marriage to British coach Richard Ayling, she's heading for her second Olympics in a British vest. Gillian Hodges at stroke is the only survivor from our 8 in the Moscow Games. By this stage, the Olympic crew have clearly established that civil service ladies are not going to embarrass them. Their time for the 1,000 metres is 3 minutes 28.5 seconds. Although when conditions can vary so much from course to course and day to day, times are not of major importance. And lack of opposition or not, they've plainly given everything here. A similar effort in August could well earn a medal. The most keenly anticipated race is the men's single sculls, featuring the man with most to prove, Chris Baillieu. He's against the New Zealander Gary Reid, who beat him twice in Vichy a fortnight ago, with the Belgian now Oosterlink in the far lane. The men compete over 2,000 metres, and for the single scullers, that's long enough for tactics to play a part. You'll see Baillieu frequently glancing over to check on Reid's position, and each time Baillieu applies the pressure, Reid responds. For Baillieu, this will be his 12th season at the top. Since 1973, he's contested every World Championship and Olympic Games, mainly in the double sculls. With Mike Hart, he was a silver medalist at the 76 Olympics and a gold medalist at the following World Championships. Today, he's against an opponent almost 15 years younger, and one who, like Baillieu, has to prove himself worthy of an Olympic place. Reid has had a small margin from the beginning, and he seems to have the answer to everything the Englishman offers. There have been some this season ready to write off Chris Baillieu as no longer up to Olympic standard. But after missing the first day here with a migraine, he's now run Reid close enough at least to defer judgment until the Lucerne Regatta next weekend. Reid, an unknown quantity sent to Europe to prove himself internationally, is pleased enough with his 2 seconds margin of victory. Meanwhile, Baillieu heads back to the boathouse, and the knowledge that his final season is still something of an open question.
I'm more worried about where you are. Sometimes. And this is
New Zealand takes the medal.
Well done, then. Nice to see you. Thank you.
And what of Baillieu? At 34, with so much success behind him, how important is it to make one last Olympic trip?
I It's a challenge, of course it is, because one of the few things I've not done is to represent in the single sculls, and that is a challenge. That having been said, I've always gone to the Olympics before with the intention of challenging for a medal, and I've always been fortunate in being able to do that. Realistically, I'm not in that position as a single. I am final stand or thereabouts if all goes well. Now this year the situation is different because we've got a boycott, and so that, the rules of the game, as it were, have changed. I'd like to think that I wouldn't want to go unless I was final standard. There is that challenge to go. But there are a lot of factors to be taken into account, and it's a question of whether I'm good enough and whether the selectors think that it's worth banking more money in me. It's a long service, good conduct medal or something.
And so to the men's eights, blue-ribboned event of any regatta. Not for the first time this weekend, the fancied crew finds itself on a hiding to nothing. None of the three other crews should trouble the Olympic eight on the far side. But the race still has to be won, and at this stage, Vesta are still close enough to prevent them relaxing too much. But already now, with 3/4 of the distance still to be rowed, there's only one crew you'd bet on. In California, the competition will be infinitely tougher. But this is an event where Britain can have genuine optimism. This crew is based substantially on the eight that won a silver medal in 1980. And by now, there's really only one place in that boat still in dispute. Among the survivors from the last games is Cox Colin Moynihan, who since Moscow has become a member of Parliament.
Crews here who are national squad, but up there in the front, our own British squad, the ARA, with a comfortable lead in a lane, actually rowing in lane 3. The Belgian squad, who are increasing their rate of striking, it seems, towards the finish there and making a bid for second place.
After finishing second to the impressive American eight at Vichy, Britain have had another useful outing here.
The Belgian squad. That is now the signal for the ARA squad to have crossed the line in first
Vesta
place.
follow them home in second place, with the Belgians and Danes left some way behind.
Third across the line in lane 4.
And what does Colin Moynihan feel about the Olympic prospects? Does his crew have a significant chance?
Yes, I think it has. I mean, it's got, out of the 9 of us from the 1980 Olympics, where we got a silver medal and then went on to get a silver in the World Championships the year later, there's 7 of us who are still there. They're bigger, they're stronger. I think it's got a very good chance indeed. And with a bit of luck, the Americans are looking favourite at the moment, but they were only just ahead of us in the first race of the season when we really went together. We've made some changes which we feel have strengthened the boat. We're still experimenting this weekend. But it's looking as if it could be a very definite medal prospect, and obviously we're going to go for gold. That's what it's all about.